And Evan had a unique insight and what you talked about. And we all know this now, right? So this is no longer a unique insight, but at the time it was a unique insight.
Yeah.
And he said, Facebook, Instagram, they've sort of become like the journal of record for your life.
Yeah.
And because they were the journal of record, it was creating this performance anxiety for people. It's like, is this cool enough? Do I look cool enough? Do I look popular enough? Do I look successful enough to put this on Instagram, to put this on Facebook? And because of that performance anxiety, it was causing people to post less. And he said, and obviously, all of our communication has shifted to digital, right? So he said, look, the way that you build friendships or relationships with people is not just when you see the top 10% of their life. It's when you see the full 360, not just when they're happy and excited and proud, but when they're anxious and angry and sad and nervous and proud and happy and excited, all of them, right? All of it, all 360. He said, by making the messages disappear, we are reducing that performance anxiety to allow, and by creating a culture where you can be silly and goofy and all of these things, you do get that full 360. And he said that, he made this great analogy. He said, look, if you meet your friend and you're just talking and hanging out, and at the end of it, your friend says, oh, by the way, I recorded this, I hope you don't mind. You'd be like, what? What are you talking about? But he said, but that has become default for our digital communications. Everything is recorded. Everything is permanent, right? So that is not the way humans were wired, right? And it's had all these sort of deleterious impacts. If you're friends, and if I have a fight with you over text, and we say mean things to each other because we're angry, the next time we open that message thread, the first thing we see are these mean things that we said to each other, right? Whereas if we had a fight in real life, and I say mean things to you, say mean things to me, next time we see each other, we can both pretend that didn't happen, right? But there's no way to pretend it didn't happen when you open the message thread, it's staring right in your face, right? So we talked about why disappearing messages made so much sense to, not as a new way for people to communicate, but because it was actually the original way that people communicated, and how the recording that is default in digital communications had changed the way we communicated and then changed the way you relate to each other because of that. That was an incredibly unique insight. And so when he was explaining all this, we were like, oh, we would love to help you with your server cost problem. And that's what led to the seed investment in the first place. But I think this was a case where we weren't convinced about the rightness of the prevailing wisdom that social media is dead.